This is video 3 on lesson 29, going over our classwork. In the last video, we left off dividing 4,000 into groups of 125. I went ahead and did my math and got 32. Hopefully you did as well. And so that tells me that C is the same as 32. So now I want to check my work. Anytime that I can remove letters and have numbers, that's a good thing for math. We would prefer numbers to letters. So we're going to sub in 32 up here into our original problem. And we're going to do 12.5 times 32. Remember, when you're multiplying decimals, you ignore the dot. You multiply it out and you add it like you're taught. You count behind the decimal and you move in the dot. Give it all you got. Woo! So 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 more is 5. 2 times 1 is 2. So then we have a 0 here. We're multiplying by 3. 3 times 5 is 15. Carry the 1. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 more is 7. And 3 times 1 is 3. So here we have 0, 10. Carry the 1. 7 plus 3 is 10. Carry the 1. 3 plus 1 is 4. Move in the dot. Move in the dot. We get 400, which is what we should have gotten. So now I need to answer this question down here. So if I know that each of these groups of C is 32, how many markers would I have had? Well, 10 groups of 32 would equal 320 markers. Construction paper is just one group of 32. That makes it pretty easy. Glue has to be the same, tied for it. That's 32 as well. And then scissors is half a group of C. So remember, if this is 32, we have to divide it between those two pieces. So there would be 16 in each of those pieces. So we have 16 scissors. So now see if you can do number 4 on your own. We've done quite a few together. And then see if you can just come back and join me to see if you got it correct or not. If you're back with me, it means that you have solved the problem and you're ready to check if your answer is correct. I hope first that you check to see, did you make an answer statement? Did you take notes and say which one would be the most, which one would be the least, and which one would be the middle? If you didn't, pause now and do those things. If you did, you should have an answer statement that is, Mrs. Zentz bought blank protractors. Make sure your name is capitalized here because it's a proper noun. All names should be capitalized. Then you should have known that rulers have to be your most amount, calculators is your least amount, and protractors is the middle amount. So then you should have drawn a picture if you knew there was twice as many rulers as protractors. Calculators is 1/4 of protractors. Protractors is what we're comparing everything to. So I went ahead and did 1 protractor and then did the rest off of them. Twice as many rulers, that means that's going to be 2 protractors. And then 1/4 is the same as 1/4. Think about quarters in math. There are 4 quarters. So when I was thinking of 1/4, I drew, this is one entire set of protractors, but I only need 1 part out of 4 for my picture here. So I kind of broke the protractor into 4 and then knew that I only need 1/4. So when I'm thinking about what is my equation here, I see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4 P's, but really I only need 1, 2, 3, and then 1/4 of this one. And I don't really like fractions, so I'm going to write that as a decimal. And since I'm flexible and I practice my decimals, I know that that's the same as 3 whole groups of P and then 0.25 of this one. So we have 3.25 P's or protractors, and that's got a total or equal 65 items. So now, if I know that this total has to be 65, what do I do to those 65 to figure out what 1P equals? Hopefully you said you have to split it evenly between those parts. So mathematically, how we split evenly is divide. So I'm going to take 65 and divide them between the 3.25 parts. Divide this. Again, P is being multiplied by 3.25, so we're going to divide. So I'm going to do my work over here. Famous fractions fall to divide. 65 goes in the doghouse. 3.25's out here, but we can't divide with a decimal in the divisor, so we swoop, there it is, swoop, there it is. So I need to swoop, there it is, swoop, there it is. Whatever I do to the divisor, I have to do to the dividend. So that becomes 6,500. So now I'm going to take 6,500 and divide it into 325 groups. And 650, that looks like an easy one. That would be 2 groups of 325. So that's 650. So then I have nothing left over. So how many groups of 325 can I make out of 0? I have to have a number above every number in my dividend here. So how many groups? That would be 0. So 0 times 325 is 0. So that means each of these P's equals 20. And since I did a good job of writing my answer statement, I know the only thing I really need to figure out is how many of them were protractors. So there's just one group of protractors, so that tells me that there were 20 protractors. I also want to check my work to make sure I was correct. So I want to plug $20 in for P. Again, when you're multiplying decimals, you ignore the dot. You multiply it out and you add it like you taught. You count behind the decimal and you move in the dot. Give it all you got. Woo! So this time I'm going to just do it times 2 because I know times 20 I just need to put an extra 0 on the end of my answer. So I'm going to put the 0 there and then just do 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 more is 5. 2 times 3 is 6. So I have 6, but I have count behind the decimal, 2 decimal places in my question. So I need 2 decimal places in my answer. So I get 65, which is what I need over here. So that is correct. Another way I could check it is to do 20 plus 20. There would be 40 rulers, 20 protractors, so that's 60. This would be 20. But in each of these boxes would just be 5. So that means C equals 5. 40 plus 20 plus 5 is my 65 as well. So lots of ways to check to see if you're getting them correct or not.